Everybody, here we go. Gonna have a family reunion, family reunion. Good old-fashioned outdoor barbecue. Gonna have a family reunion, a family reunion, family reunion, and you're invited too. Hey folks, it's been a long, long time since I laid eyes on you. I know I ain't seen Crystal Gayle since 1992. And Mom and Dad have asked me if I'd write and let you know we're gonna have a big reunion in a week or so. Gonna have a family reunion, family reunion, a good old-fashioned outdoor barbecue. Gonna have a family reunion, a family reunion, family reunion, and you're invited too. So is the band. Now, Mary, you be sure to come. We're gonna have some fun again. You know I've had a crush on you since I was only 10. Remember when I kissed you? Mama said it was a sin. But what's the harm in kissing when you're kissing kin? We're gonna have a family reunion, family reunion, a good old-fashioned outdoor barbecue. We're gonna have a family reunion, family reunion, family reunion, and you're invited to tag. Family reunion, and you're invited to. All right. Got us all together again. Boy, it's wonderful to see everybody and some folks that are joining us for the first time, including the man who's probably played on more phonograph records and produced more phonograph records than anybody, the great Chet Atkins. Chet, we're so glad that you've joined us for our little get-together. I want you to tell stories on everybody in this room.
He put me to the top of the charts.
What? He did what, Mr. Carlisle? Skeeter, hand him the microphone. He did what, Mr. Carlisle?
Huh?
He did what?
He put me on the top of the charts.
He did?
Yeah, I'm not sure it was him or that little piece of paper that I put in the guitar.
Whose idea was it to put the little piece of paper in the guitar?
Hot Shot Elmer's.
I've heard of Hot
And
Shot
I stole it and he sued me.
Wait a minute. We're going
It ain't easy to win a case against yourself.
That preceded Elvis. Did you know that? You know that sound they
the
got?
little paper in the guitar?
And you know, who was it? Rick Hensel, I think. I read that where he said that somewhere in an article. And I said, that's true. I never even thought about it.
You mean Bill Carlisle could have been Elvis?
He preceded Elvis with that sound. Paper and under the string.
Hey, what about that hip movement? I heard Elvis got that hip movement from Bill Carlisle. Is that true?
Is that true, Bill?
The lip movement. Hey, oh, hey.
No, not the lip
He got the
movement.
lip movement.
The
And you
hip
know
movement.
what? I can kiss better than he could with one lip tied behind me.
I think there's somebody here that could attest to that also. Bonnie?
Not Bonnie, me.
Boy, we got a colorful
Not Bonnie,
show.
just me this time.
We got a colorful show today. We've got the Browns, the Whites, and Jack Green. All here. Bonnie and Maxine, this is y'all's first time with us. We've been putting up with Jim Ed for a long time, but we're glad
Nobody
to have
ever
y'all.
asked us. We're glad to be here.
Well,
This is gonna be fun.
I'm awfully glad you're here. You're sitting next to a gentleman that has been writing about country music and has been on television a lot, probably forgot more about country music than a lot of us know. Our friend Mr. Bob Orman joins us.
Good to see you, Bill.
Bob, good to have you here with us.
Very
Just join in. I mentioned Crystal Gayle. Boy, the place suddenly looks a lot prettier than it used to. We're glad you're with us.
Well, I am so honored to have been asked. I'm having a great time. I was having a great time in the dressing room.
Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. Who else?
You don't know what she
Smokey
saw in
Smith.
that dressing room.
Smokey Smith, our buddy from Des Moines, who's booked a lot of shows, played a lot of country records over the years. Great to have you, Smokes.
Hey, it's a great pleasure for me to be here, too.
We're going to have a good time today.
Now, that man knows a lot of stories on us.
Well, I know, but we ain't going to let him tell all of them.
I've made a few dollars already out in the makeup room. I've made a few dollars on various ones in here of stories not to tell.
Let me see. Roy Drusky, I don't think you've been with us before. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Johnny Counterfeit, you go imitate a whole bunch of us today?
Yeah, I thought I might even do a Bill Anderson song.
Well, hardly wait for that.
If you know him, you can do him with me.
Let's see. Now, some of the people that were with us on the gospel show, Wanda Jackson is back with us on the Country Family Reunion. Great to have Wanda. Freddie Hart, all the way from California. Stu Phillips, I don't think you've been with us before. Charlie Louvin, Hank Locklin. Anybody else has never been here? Raise your hand.
No, I thought you meant the gospel show. I'm sorry. Yesterday.
Oh, all right. Yes, Mr. Carlisle.
I hadn't been here.
No, so you were here.
Your body
Was
was
it?
here.
Yeah, you were here.
Thank you.
I just don't remember.
And since we
I just don't remember.
You were
I've got
great,
short
Bill.
memory.
Since we've got you here and we're talking about the song with the paper under the guitar, would you do a little No Help Wanted for us?
Do all of it.
All right.
Hey, I want to tell you, Chet was one that played the guitar on this. And where's your guitar?
I didn't bring it. I didn't think.
What are you going to pick?
I didn't think they wanted me to play it.
No. Hey, I want everybody to help me out on this because most of you has heard it. Let me have my cane because I don't. If I won't fall for anything, it'll be Maxine Brown.
Hey, Bill, before you say that, you failed for me about 30 years ago. I bet you forgot about it.
It just
But I won't
in
tell
the
it. I
key of what? Key of 3/4. Now I got a gal from New Orleans, the cutest little thing that you ever have seen. Cute little walk with a hippity hop, big at the little and bottom at the top. No help on it. No help on it. Handle this job all by myself. Now his chief called me her little piggy wiggy. I call her my little thingamajig. When I asked her for a kiss, her voice sounds something like this. No help on it. Could you use a little help? No help on it. I can handle this job by myself. Not piggy, but. Cute as a button and sweet as sugar. I'm gonna buy her a diamond ring. We'll get married in the spring. Do you need any help? Excuse me. Could you use any help? No help on it. Call me if you need any help. If you need any help. If you need any help. I can handle this job by myself. Get it again. Tonight we're gonna do everything up right when the music starts to swing and sway. We'll dance till the break of day. Do you need any help? No help on it. Could you use any help? No help on it. Call me if you need any help. If you need any help. If you need any help. I can handle this job by myself. What you get the next time.
Jan Howard, how about a song from you?
Wow. I'm going to follow Chet
You're gonna follow
Atkins,
Chet
Bill
Atkins.
Carlisle. I'm glad it's you. Well, I followed let's see, I followed President Nixon when he came to the Opry House.
And what did you say about that?
I told him I'd had tougher acts to follow. I'd followed Minnie Pearl and Grandpa Jones. So I will do my best. Okay, hit me a G. We're going to do the one you slip around with. Everybody sing on the chorus. I had the key to heaven when we married. And for a while I brought you happiness. But now your love for me is dead and buried. And every night you share another's kiss. And I'd rather be the one you slip around with than be the one whose dream of love is gone. Yes, I'd rather be the one you spend your time with than be the one at home all alone. All right, this fantastic band we have here. Have to stand up because I can't sing sitting down. Deep down inside, I know that I should leave you. How many tears must fall before I learn? I think of ways that I forgot the words because I was looking at you. And every night I wait for your return. Come on. And I'd rather be the one you slip around with than be the one whose dream of love is gone. Yes, I'd rather be the one you spend your time with than be the one at home all alone. Yeah. Skeeter recorded that song in an album. Yeah.
Well, y'all sound good together.
Yeah, Skeeter
I just want
recorded
to
it
ask
and
Jan if
Gene
she ever followed Bill Clinton. You followed Bush. Did you ever follow Bill Clinton?
You ever followed
And I don't
you?
think I want to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
A lot of people followed Clinton.
He ever follow you?
He might have followed me. Did he follow me? No. Skip on. Something else.
Let's move right along.
Tell us about that, Jan.
Wait a minute. I think, Jan, I think we've got Bill Clinton over here on the back row.
Oh, my
I'd like you to go ahead and tell that story about me following you. I get blamed for everything else, you know. Did I follow you very far? Was I smoking a cigar?
I don't think we want to go there either. No, he didn't. Get me out of this because I always put my foot in my mouth.
Bill, I just want to say, I maybe have said this on one of the other ones, but sitting here, you know, watching Jan sing, because that song just brings back such great memories for me, because I was like Jack. I was hanging around the backstage of anywhere I could find in northwestern Pennsylvania, where I grew up, and we didn't have midday merry-go-rounds and all of that to do, but I was trying to learn everywhere I could. And also, I've told Skeeter this a lot of times. She had an album called I'll Sing You a Song and Harmonize Too, and I lived with that album, isolating the lead part so I could try to learn to sing harmony. My heart just skipped about 4 beats when I saw the two of them sing, and that's what makes all this so wonderful. I tell them often, but I usually want something at the same time, so I wanted to publicly say how much I admire them, and I don't even want anything today. Thank you, you girls.
Also, Bill,
Yeah.
Jan Howard is probably the oldest friend I have in country music. Longest.
There is a difference.
It just happens that when Jan and Harlan were married, Well, I knew them before they were married, back in the 50s, about 55. And, of course, I was a teenager. I was only about, and so was Jan. But I used to go to their house. Harlan had a job working in a carton factory or something. Printing something or other. And Jan, of course, she had 3 little boys. And you were working also. We were all working. I was working nightclubs around Southern California, and I used to go over to their house. I had friends located strategically all over Southern California where I could had a place to stay and eat. I didn't have a home. I stayed with friends, and I was a good guest. I didn't get in the way. I knew how to do it. Except one night, Wynn Stewart and I spent the night with them, and there wasn't enough space, so I had to sleep in their bathtub. And of course, when Jan and Harlan moved to Nashville, I started coming here, and I continued my sleeping. No, they had made a lot of money by then, so they had a bedroom for me. So I would sleep over there and bum money off of Harlan to buy cigarettes, and Jan and Salona would cook nice meals, and it's gone on through the years. We've still my best friend.
Well, did you ever bum a place to stay in California with a guy named Freddie Hart?
No, Freddie never did invite me to his house. I had to get somebody that wasn't a star so they would put up with it.
I think that's really interesting how everybody did live with everybody. Billy Walker, I know, put up Willie Nelson. You were telling me before the show Elvis used to stay with you guys. I think
Elvis used to stay with you guys?
He didn't sleep with me. Wasn't because she didn't want to.
Tell it all, Maxine.
Because we had a little house and Elvis slept in my mom and daddy's room. Would you believe that? Our sister Norma had a bed in mom and dad's room. It was a little bitty house. So that's the only place he had to sleep. So he had to sleep with mom and daddy. That's the last reason.
He tore up a sheet one time.
Oh, yeah, he got his toe hung in one of Mama's sheets and tore it all to pieces. Mama said, "Don't worry, son. Everything I got's holy." So he came back. He used to stay at our house all the time when we were all working together,
Was this the Louisiana Hayride days?
Yeah.
You toured in Texas and stole the show from him.
Oh, yeah. Tom Perrin tell you that. Didn't last long. But he would stay at our house because Scotty Moore and Bill Black going back to Memphis because they were married. Of course, they didn't know they were. But
not to each other.
So they'd come back through and pick all of us up. We'd go back to Texas. So he stayed there quite a bit.
Wow. What do you reckon that sheet would be worth today, that Elvis's toe went through the hole?
My goodness, I
wish we still had the thing.
Hey, Billy. I wish we still had Elvis.
I'm ashamed of this, Bobby. God knows, I should have invited you to my I feel bad about that, I feel bad about that.
Well, invite him now, Freddie.
Freddie, I used to come, when you were on Town Hall Party, I used to come up there and stand out in the audience and watch you and Lefty, and you guys were my heroes. And I was 19 years old. I loved it, but you still didn't invite me to your house.
Oh, man, that's awful. Listen, my heart and arms is wide open to you, boy. You're very special to me. You always have been,
Thank you,
I'm ashamed of that, though. I really am,
Well, really, it wasn't like I was standing around saying, I wish Freddie would have me over to his house.
I wish you had,
Don't feel bad.
I didn't have no bathtub.
I didn't invite him to my house, and he came anyway.
Did he?
One time, Bear and he came up and he was staying with me, and my mother was gone, just me and him. He said, "Let's have some fun." I said, "All right." He got a telephone book, and he started calling people. And this Sunday morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning, we hadn't been asleep yet. And he starts calling people, and people hang up on him. Finally, he got this one guy that would talk to him. And he told him, he said, "Hey, buddy," he said, "Look, I run the depot here at the train station, and we've got a bunch of baby chicks down here that you've ordered." And the guy said, "I ain't ordered no baby chicks." And in the phone book had his name and address, and he said, "You're so-and-so at certain address." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, we got your baby chicks down here, and they're hungry. And you want to come get them." He said, "I didn't order no baby chicks." Bear said, "I don't care. You got them down here. You better come get them baby chicks." That guy said, "What am I going to do with 500 baby chicks?" Bear said, "I don't know, buddy, but come get your chicks." And the guy said, "Okay, I'll come down there and get them now." And Bear wanted to go down there and watch him come down there. I said, "I ain't going nowhere near that depot."
Was that Gene Autry? They'll pull that on? Somebody pulled that on Gene Autry one time.
Nah, I don't know who it was. I didn't want to find out.
It wasn't me.
Do you remember, Bobby, excuse me, when you were on movie location out in Arizona and you got the phone call that night? You never figured out who it was until the end of the conversation.
What was that about?
I decided, I used to be a telephone operator many, many years ago. I was put on this telephone operator voice like that. So I don't remember who put me up to it. But anyway, I called out there at the location. And I said, "Do you have Mr. Bobby Bear there?" I said, "This is long distance, and I have a very important call for him." And went through this sad, pitiful. And anyway, they finally got Bobby to the phone. And I said, "Is this Mr. Bobby Bear?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Now, Mr. Bear, I have to ask some very personal questions because this party wants to make sure it's the right Mr. Bobby Bear." And I said, "So please answer the questions. Do you have beautiful baby blue eyes and whatever?" And he said, "Well, yeah, I guess. You know. Do you have brown curly hair?" "Well, yeah." "What's that got to do with a phone call, you know?" I said, "Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Bear. I mean, I'm just doing my job, and I'm just, I'm going to get fired." And all right. Anyway, through the whole thing, he did not recognize me. And finally, I had to tell him who I was. Do you remember now?
Now I remember. It was in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Flagstaff, Arizona.
My, what people won't do to me.
Hey,
Anyway,
Freddie, you didn't
it was
invite him
fun.
to stay at your house, but how about singing a song for us? That'll make up for a lot.
What do you want to hear?
Easy Love.
No kidding?
Yeah. Ain't that what you want to sing?
Oh, thank you. Oh, what a blessing this song has been to me, Y'all help me out now. Easy loving, so sexy looking. I can tell by the feeling it comes from the heart. Easy loving, every day's Thanksgiving, to count all my blessings. I wouldn't know where to start. Every time I look you over, so real to life it seems. Upon your pretty shoulders there's a pair of angel wings. Easy loving, seeing's believing. Life with you's in a beautiful dream. Whatever time I look you over, so real to life it seems. Upon your pretty shoulders there's a pair of angel wings. Easy loving, seeing's believing.
Buck and Sharon and Cheryl, the Whites, one of the great family acts in country music. Great to have you all here at our family reunion today. How about a good song from you?
Oh, well, we tried to think about what we might do today, and it's such a thrill for us to be a part of this day. We look around and see so many people that are heroes to us, and I know that's what everybody else is saying too, but when we moved to Nashville, we were born in Texas, and then we moved to the country in Arkansas, and that's where Sharon and I started picking and singing, and our dream was to move to Nashville, and when we did, everybody thought we were crazy, but of course they couldn't tell us anything. And the very first day we got to town, we didn't have a place to live, but Daddy took us to the Friday Night Opry. And so we went to the Ryman a lot. And we used to sit where the balcony would go around over the stage, behind the curtain. And if you could sit just right, you could see what was going on the stage and behind the stage. So we remember, seeing all of you people. And we remember so many things. We remember when the CarolLe Singers started there. We just have so many memories that it's just great for us to be here today. And we were trying to think of what to sing, and we got to spend the day yesterday here at the gospel thing with Miss Kitty Wells, and she is really the queen to us. And so we're going to sing her song, Making Believe, and we did it a year or so ago on a show with her, and we found out that it came out actually the year I was born. So no wonder that's our song. We love it.
Making believe that you still love me. It's leaving me alone and so blue. But I'll always dream. Still I'll never own you. Making believe is all I can do.
I can't hold you close
when you're not with me.
You're somebody's love.
You'll never be mine. Making believe I'll spend my lifetime loving you. Making believe that I never lost you, but my happy hours I find are so few. My plans for the future will never come true. Making believe. What else can I do?
I can't hold you close
when you're not with me.
You're somebody's love.
You'll never be mine. Making believe I'll spend my lifetime loving you and making believe.
Thank you. I'm amongst some of my heroes and some of my old buddies that I played music with back in the early 50s. Yeah. Y'all thought that I didn't show up till about 10 years ago, did you? Huh?
You used to play piano with some of the acts that would come through down in Texas and places, didn't you?
Yeah, I played with Billy Walker.
With the mask?
Early 50s. No, it was right after
later.
that. Right after that, yeah.
Buck had the mask by then.
I have to tell. When my first day in town, I was one lonely guy. I did not know one single human being in Nashville, Tennessee, and this guy took me home and fed me. Miss Pat cooked.
Oh, we always had plenty of beans.
We've always had a soft spot for Bob.
I've never forgotten that. I was so lonely, and it meant everything to me.
I've heard a rumor that the Whites and the Browns, before this session is over, are going to do a song together.
Yeah.
Well, we planned to. I think we're still going to do it.
If we can get through it, we're going to be so excited. I don't know if we'll be able to.
We'll just
I don't
tease
think Larry's going to let
that.
us do it.
We're going to try.
Hey, Billy, I don't think Larry's going to let us do it.
Larry, our producer's not going to let us do it. We'll fix Larry.
I think it probably has to be one of the most wonderful things growing up in a family where everybody sings and plays and have fun. I mean, I think it's so great.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I
is.
envy very few people, very few things, but that I guess
I tell you, I really never did enjoy my music till my family got involved in it with me. I was a side man for years, you know, and quit school, went with a band in 1950 and was playing honky-tonks and dances and playing with all the Western music. And it was, I thought I was having a big time, you know, but it wasn't no fun. And until I met my wife and got married and these kids come along, then they started singing with me. Then something started happening that was really, you know, really felt good inside. And we all got to go to church together. And boy, my life began to mount to something then, you know. And the longer we go, the richer it gets. And becoming acquainted with you people and becoming friends and associates is the top of the line for me, you know. 'Cause I love all y'all.
Well, I've seen like Bobby and Jeannie and their family are close-knit family. And some of them are well, one of them in particular is into a different field of rock, of music now. And but I mean, they're really close, and I love to see that because they're like Bobby goes up and hugs his son and says, "I love you," and they do that. I think it's so important. Tell them about Bobby Jr.
Well, you know, years ago, Chet allowed us to do an album together, me and the kids, called Singing in the Kitchen. And during that time period, Bobby Jr. and I did a song that was so good called Daddy, What If? And now Bobby Jr. has grown, and he has a rock and roll group. It's as far away from what I do as you can possibly get. And the group is called Bear Jr. And it's the most played rock record right now in America. So maybe he'll support me now that I've supported him all these years. But it's exciting. I think family harmony is without a doubt the greatest harmony in the world. The Whites, the Browns, their harmony is so great. They phrase so meticulous. And, of course, Chet produced all those first records on the Everly Brothers, and we all know what great harmony that is, where two guys sound like five.
Sisters? Anybody remember the Davis? I know Chet does.
But family harmony is the greatest in the world.
I'm looking over your shoulder at Crystal Gayle, and she's nodding. Have you and Loretta, who are sisters, of course, have y'all ever sung together?
We've sung together on stage, and actually we're in the process right now of looking at material and thinking of doing the album that we've been talking about for a long time.
Wow.
You know, okay, I want to hear it. You know, it's just, you know, in Kentucky where I was born, and we were all born back there, and that's what we did for entertainment. You know, that was what we loved. You'd sit on the porch and you'd sing, and I never thought, well, I'm going to learn to sing because I want to be a star. It was just in the heart, and I love that, and I love that about country music. When I first started into it, it was the family feel. Everybody, as you said, they'd spend the night here, they'd go there, they just took care of you. And, we miss that now. It's not there like it used to be, and, that's
Well,
what I
now I
loved
said
about it.
Loretta, there's another sister, Peggy Sue.
Peggy
of
Sue.
course, yeah.
Peggy, she tours with me and sings harmony and also sings solo as well. And
So if you and Loretta do something, it'll
Peggy
maybe
will
be
do
all
it
three
too.
of you?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh, when we go out on stage, we got to work together this past year at a fair, and we hadn't seen each other for a long time. So when we hit stage was really when we rehearsed. I'd end a song and then she'd start another one, and I'd say, okay. People loved it. We have fun. That's what we say. We do a lot of laughing. If we flat or sharp, we don't care. That's it's the feeling that's there, and that's starting in this business. When I started, of course, my sister got my foot in the door, and I recorded for MCA for a little bit, which was Decca Records at that time. And it didn't take me long to realize if I was going to make it on my own, I had to go to somewhere where they believed in me and not just being on the label because of being someone's sister. And I was doing Del Reeve's television show, and he was on United Artist Records. And I wasn't with a label at that time, and Lynn Schultz came over to me and he says, "You're not with a label?" He says, "Will you come and talk to us?" And really it was being in the right place at the right time. They put me with Alan Reynolds, and it was just that family wanting to take care of everybody.
Hank Locklin, you've got a son who is about to, I think, take the bar exam, become a lawyer. But I heard him sing with you. He's not into the music business, but I heard him sing with you one night on the Opry, and I couldn't hardly tell where you stopped and he started.
That was really a nice compliment you paid, too. There's a lot of things. He kept a lot of things from me. We didn't even know that he was as good as he was on the drums. And then later on, when he was 8 years old, he asked me to teach him how to play the guitar. And I never asked him, never pushed him, because I didn't know, what the deal was with him. But I didn't want him to think that I was pushing on him, to do these things. But I showed him the key of C and then F and G. And I told him, I said, work on it a couple of weeks, and he did. And about 30 minutes later, he called me and says, "Dad, come here, I want to show you something." He remembered where it was and changed all the keys. He's really talented, and he's producing an album now. I think we have 20 songs that's already.
An album by his dad?
Uh-huh. And so I think he's going to sing maybe a couple of 4 songs on the album. But Anita, I told her the other day, I said, "Is that me singing on it, or is that Adam on that?" Because I didn't really, because he put some tracks down, and he was doing that while I was doing something else, But he's also writing too, and I think the boy might just do all right. I think he's got one song that really just tear you up.
Well, he's following in some great footsteps. How about that classic song of yours called "Send Me the Pillow You Dream On"?
Do you want me to say anything about it?
Whatever you want to say. I just want you to sing.
Well, this year, the pillow is 50 years old. I wrote it in 1949 in Houston, Texas. And it's been really a song that just keeps on hanging in there, And so when I recorded it for 4-Star, I was on 4-Star, and it was a big hit all out in Oklahoma and all the way back to California, because that's where it was released. When I wrote the song, I had a radio show. It was on KLEE there at the Milby Hotel, and just the guitar and me, it was 5 days a week, and I was sponsored by this car dealer. So I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I carried it down to get his wife Doris to type it out, and a little better than what I had written down. And so she did, and so when I sang it on the radio, 2 days, I sang it, every day, and pillows started coming in, all sizes. Man, I'd never seen so many pillows in all my life, and because I'd been on the station then about 4 3 years, I guess it was. But I don't remember how many pillows, and I got to giving them to everybody, you know, had come along, you know, and I don't know what happened to them. But it was really a big record then. But the bum came when I come to Nashville and met Chet Atkins, and that was 1957. I moved from Texas to Florida, and I bought some land down there. I was going to be a big rancher, you know. And so I had cows and all that things, you know, and had it all fixed up. But I went over there in June, and it was, you get, you know, on the station you usually get 4 songs, and so we did 3. I did Geisha Girl, which was a big song, and then A Little More Like Heaven, and Send Me the Pillow. And you know, Chet's style, you know how he is. It wouldn't impress him if somebody went up and give him $1 million, you know. He would just be, oh, thank you, I appreciate it. But the engineer, I can't remember the engineer. Chet, you remember the engineer?
No, I don't remember any of that
You don't
stuff.
remember? Okay. Well, there's a lot of things I don't remember. Was it Jim? Is that who it was? Yeah. It was probably Mark, Charlie. Thank you.
That was before.
But
Yeah.
anyhow, we cut the song, and the engineer, man, he said, not the engineer, but the guy that runs the board there. I can't remember his name. Jim something. wasn't it?
Engineer's all right.
Oh, thank you, Chet.
Engineer will be fine.
Yeah, okay. But you know, it was unusual to do 3 songs and 4 songs and have all 3 of them, you know. But then after we recorded it, I was coming home from going to Brewton, Alabama, and from McClellan, and there was a Montgomery station down there that was playing records, you know, and they got, you could write them, and they would play the record and dedicate it, you know. And I'm riding along there, and I counted 20-something tapes, requests. Thank you, baby. And I said, I wonder who's got a record out like that. And he said, here's Hank Locklin. And I like to wreck the car, man. I said, I can't believe this, but it took off. And then the next thing that happened to it was, when was that happened? BMI. I'm a BMI millionaire. You didn't know that, did you, Cooper? Yeah. And so it 1967. Gosh, I can't even remember. Chet, I'm getting just like a lot of other people here. John, you know. Anyway, thank you, buddy.
How about singing it for us, Hank?
I'll try it then. All right. I do thank you.
Send me the pillow that you dream on. Don't you know that I still care for you? Send me the pillow that you dream on. So darling, I can dream on it too. Each night while I'm sleeping, oh so lonely, I share your love and dreams that once were true. Send me the pillow that you dream on. So darling, I can dream on it too. Come on, sing with me now. I've
So, darling, I can dream on it too. So, darling, I can dream on it too.
The year was 1967, and Johnny Tillotson was who he's trying to think of.
Great job, Hank. I was looking over my shoulder at Maxine and Bonnie and Jim Ed, the Browns, while he was singing, because y'all recorded that song, too.
We had a #1 record of that in pop and country feel.
I was going to tell that, but I didn't have
We made
time.
him some money. You know, I tell you, can I say this?
Go right ahead. Say
I
anything
think
you
Hank Locklin sounds better than he ever sung in his life. But Hank, Hank's a serious person, but I've always thought he was the funniest man I've ever met in my life.
The Browns
And,
recorded the song, and I did too.
So one time,
Yeah.
Hank used to tell this story. Hush. Hank, I've just got to tell this story because I'll have to have some help here. I've got to tell the story on Hank. He always went on stage and told his story. He said he went to see a psychiatrist because he had something wrong with his head. So the psychiatrist says, well, why don't you lay down here on this couch and tell me about it? He says, well, Doc, I make records, but they don't sell. Nobody pats for me. People don't even come see me anymore. Doc says, well, why don't you just quit? He said, I can't, I'm a star. So he will never quit. He's still a star.
Well, I hope he doesn't quit. While we got y'all here, can we kind of flip-flop what we were planning on doing? Could we get a song out of the Browns?
Send me the pillow you dream.
No, no, we just heard "Send Me the Pillow You Dream
Alpha
On."
and Omega?
Yeah, well, you can do that one too.
What? Alpha and Omega?
No. Go back and do the song that everybody knows the Browns for
Well,
from
I
what
hope
about '59?
I hope everybody remembers that Maxine and I quit the business 30 years ago, so we don't sing together very often anymore. In fact, it's been a whole year since we've even hit a note. So I don't know how good this will be.
I think it's like riding a
Scarlet
bicycle.
Ribbons.
I've heard y'all, and you sound like you never missed a.
Well, we get nervous when Chet's here. You know, Chet
yeah.
recorded all of our songs.
Chet produced every one of them.
Chet produced Three Bells.
Every one, everything.
Did you know this was a hit song when you
I've
first
been
heard
hearing
it?
it on the Ed Sullivan show. There's some guys from France, but she is the one that suggested we do it.
Well,
If
we did it in a cappella choir at Pamela Pie School.
You're talking about Three Bells, aren't you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Scarlet
but
Ribbons,
they
right?
came in to record, and she mentioned this song. I said, I love that song. God. And it took me a long time to find it, to find the words and music and everything. But we found it, and we spent several minutes or hours editing, you remember? Because it had too many verses, yeah.
Whose idea was the little boom, boom, boom? Or was that part of the song originally?
I think the original record, the guys did that,
They
didn't they?
did.
But Anita Kerr
Anita Kerr
did it much better with her group, of course.
Did you have any problems, Jim Ed, recording a song about Jimmy Brown? I mean, since your name is Jim Brown.
No, not really. We did this in the high school choir. Bonnie did it. I did it.
I didn't even
and-
like the song.
You what?
We had to make her record it. She didn't like it.
I didn't even like it. Of course, I've never picked a hit in my life. The only song I ever picked a hit to be was one called Groundhog. Still my favorite song, though. That's because Chet did some fantastic picking on that.
I love it.
But we're not doing the Three Bells, are we?
Today, people have pointed out that timing is everything in this business. And this is one time that the timing was terrible as far as I'm concerned. Because I had a thing called Jimmy Brown and Newsboy.
That's right.
And they kept me out of number one. The only chance I had at a number one record, I'd got up to number 5, and I'd go up to number 3, and it'd fall back to 5. But they hung right in number 1. I never did get by them with it.
You think it was just too many Jim Browns out
Too
at
many
one
Jimmy
time?
Browns, yeah.
All right.
You know that Chet produced everything we ever did for RCA. As a matter of fact, we started with Chet on a 2-track studio, and he did
Rag on me.
everything. But we're doing Scarlet
No,
Ribbon.
we go ahead. We can go ahead and do. We can go ahead and do this one. Actually, after we recorded this and it came out, Chet went to New York from the story I got and told New York, said, if you don't work on this, said, and make this a #1 hit, said, I'm going to leave RCA. Now, this is the story that I got from
I made
New
a lot
York.
of threats, but I didn't carry them out. They didn't know what I was doing, so I could get by with a lot. And they weren't paying me anything, so they didn't care.
We thought we were going to do Scarlet Ribbons, which was also a #1, but we're going to do.
We'll go ahead and do this one.
See,
if
this
y'all
is
don't mind.
you talk about family harmony. You know, families also argue too.
Well, the band doesn't know either one of them, so we're going to do them just us and the guitar, if that's all right. And we can start. Y'all can do the bombs. Everybody knows where the bombs
I'll let the bands
and you
play
can
with us,
help
too.
us do it. And if they want to, if the band wants to come in, they're welcome to do so.
Please do.
Are we ready?
There's a village hidden deep in a valley, among the pine trees half forlorn. And there on a sunny morning, little Jimmy Brown was born. Bum, 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 bum. All the chapel bells were ringing in the little valley town. And the songs that they were singing was for baby Jimmy Brown. And the little congregation prayed for guidance from above. Lead us not into temptation, bless this hour of meditation, guide him with eternal love. There's a village hidden deep in a valley, beneath the mountains high above. And there, 20 years thereafter, Jimmy was to meet his love. Bum, 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 bum. All the chapel bells were ringing. 'Twas a great day in his life, for the songs that they were singing was for Jimmy and his wife. And the little congregation prayed for guidance from above. Lead us not into temptation, bless, O Lord, this celebration. May their lives be filled with love. From the village hidden deep in a valley, one rainy morning, dark and gray, a soul winged its way to heaven. Jimmy Brown had passed away. Bum, 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 bum. Just a lonely bell was ringing in the little valley town. 'Twas farewell that it was singing to our good old Jimmy Brown. And the little congregation prayed for guidance from above. Lead us not into temptation, may his soul find the salvation of thy great eternal love.
That was tough to get through.
Oh.
Thank you so much. That was fun.
That's wonderful. That's
I want to say that my mother and dad and I were singing, of course, trios as well, but we were in Wheeling, West Virginia. And you all were already down here at the Opry, I believe. So I was about 13, and I had, I'd been singing with them since I was 2 on this stage. And now I was doing harmony, recording with them, things like this. So I came in, and I was so excited when I heard a song that the Browns had done called I Take the Chance. Do you all? I yearn to hear the Browns do that sometime. But so I went into my dad, and I said, Daddy, I have found a new song for us to start learning. And he said, well, honey, what is it? And I said, it's I Take the Chance, done by Jim Ed and the Browns. He said, we'll put a stop to that right now. He said, there's no way we're going to sing that song. And I said, oh, if you haven't heard it, Daddy, it's beautiful. And he said, I've heard it. And he said, unless you can top the sound that the Browns have, you don't touch the Browns. Big lesson.
That was written.
Charlie Louvin was smiling when you said that's a Louvin Brothers song, isn't it, Charlie? I Take
I
the
love
Chance.
Louvin Brothers stuff.
I already presented several songs to the Browns, but we never presented in a duet form. We would sing the duet, and Ari would come back, put the third part on it, and that's the way that they would get the songs. He's afraid that Jim Ed said, there's three of us. Can't y'all count? So we would always put the third part on.
There was a guy that came to Nashville in the 70s that really kind of changed the face of country songwriting. And one of our buddies over here, Roy Drusky, was the first person, I think I've got this right. Weren't you the first person to ever record a song written by Chris Christopherson?
Yes, I was. Jody and the Kid.
Yeah. How did you happen to find that? And did you realize that Chris Christopherson was going to be the great writer that he turned out to be?
No, at that time, Chris was doing the cleanup work at Columbia Studios.
Yeah.
And Hubert Long came up, who was my manager at the time, and he said, I just got a song from this fellas working next door that I believe is a hit song. And I said, what is it? And he said, well, come in here and let me play it for you. It was just Chris and the guitar, and it just blew me away when I heard it. I thought, wow, what a great song, you know. Jody and the Kid.
How about singing it for us?
I'd love to. You know, before I do that, it's just everybody here is very special. And I was just thinking how blessed we are to be among legends. And Chet, everybody's got a Chet story, I guess. He played on my first demo. That's how far back I go.
Yeah, I remember that.
Along with you. And he actually produced that session that actually moved me to Nashville. And then he wouldn't sign me to RCA. But but I was just thinking, sitting here, of all these great people here, and that I know you people, and that we've known Red Foley and Hank Williams and Chet Atkins and Eddie Arnold and these legends. We were very blessed to have known these people,
right.
you know.
Do you remember when you were a disc jockey in Decatur, Georgia, there was a little kid about 16 or 17 years old that came to the station to make a record, and you engineered the record?
Yeah, he had on a red sweater.
Yeah. Wonder whatever happened to him. Roy Drusky engineered my very first record, but his career survived in spite of that.
City Lights. City Lights. You remember that?
Yeah, I certainly do remember it.
I did pretty good, didn't I?
You did very well. You certainly did. Do Jody and the Kid for
Okay,
us.
love
Roy
to.
Drusky.
You can help me. She would meet me in the morning on my way down to the river, waiting patient by the China berry tree, with her feet already dusty from the pathway to the levee, and her little blue jeans rolled up to her knees. And I'd pay her no attention as she tagged along beside me, trying hard to copy everything I did. But I couldn't keep from smiling when I'd hear somebody say, look yonder, there goes Jody and the Kid. Even after we grew older, we could still be seen together as we walked along the levee holding hands. For as surely as the seasons, she was changed into a woman, and I'd lived enough to call myself a man. She would often lay beside me in the stillness of the evening, till the morning sun was shining on my bed. And at times when she was sleeping, I would smile when I remembered how they used to call us Jody and the kid. Now the world's a little older, and the years have changed the rivers, 'cause there's houses where they didn't used to be. And on Sundays I go walking down the pathway to the levee with another little girl who follows me. And it makes the old folks smile to see her tag along beside me, doing little things the way her mama did. But it gets a little lonesome when I hear somebody say, "Look yonder, there goes Jody and the kid."
Great, Roy. Yeah.
You know, Roy, that's a lot better song than Peel Me a Nanner.
Wait a minute. Repeat that.
I said, you know, Roy, that's a lot better song than Peel Me a Nanner.
The writer of Peel Me a Nanner is sitting about 4 feet from you.
I'm aware of that.
Harold Hensley on the radio the other day said, "I want to play two of my favorite songs." I better not tell this.
No, go ahead.
Pie, Peachy Pie Pie.
Bobby Lord.
And Peel Me a Nanner.
We're in the Hall of Shame together, Lord.
All I got to say is that Mersey Dotes made it.
What?
Mersey Dotes made it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's why I recorded Pie Peachy Pie Pie.
You thought it was another Mersey Dotes?
I thought it was another Mersey Dotes. I really
What
did.
sales pitch did they use to get you to cut that song?
Boudleaux wrote it at the session, I think.
You going to lay a little bit of it on us?
Who what? Pie Peachy Pie
Yeah,
Pie?
we didn't
Not
get
on your
enough of it
life.
last time.
Not on your life.
Do you know Peel Me a Nanner?
I know that.
How did you sell that song?
How did you buy it? I don't know.
I'm still wondering.
Tell them how long it took you to write. Tell them how long
It took me 3 years to write Peel Me a Nanner.
I don't doubt that a bit.
Well, I had that silly little sing-along chorus, and I couldn't figure out the verses to go with it.
It's hard to get something to go with it.
It was very hard to get something.
You know, it's interesting what people hang on to. When they played me that song, I thought they were joking. Nothing against the song.
Sure.
But I really thought it was. Thought they was putting me on, you know. And Shelby said, "That's the #1 record." I said, "You got to be kidding! Peel Me a Nanner?" He said, "Trust me." Kelso, was it Thurston? Hurston was sitting there playing a guitar and said, "Sing it." And I still thought they was putting me on. When we got to the session, I thought they was putting me on. And the voices, they were kind of over there grinning. And I thought, this is a joke, you know. But anyway, nothing against the song.
I think you need to do a chorus of it. I think we all need to sing a chorus of Peel Me a Nanner, Toss Me a Peanut,
Well, you know,
and I'll come swinging from a coconut tree.
Everybody-
Peel me a nanner, toss me a peanut, 'cause you sure made a monkey out of... What key you do it in?
I don't do it anymore.
Well, play it in whatever key we do it in.
E flat. What are we doing?
Peel me a nanner. You know the verse, Roy?
Do what?
You know the verse?
Yeah.
There I was in all of my innocence, loving
You with all of my might. Come to find I didn't have any sense. You had a different darling every
Lot of
night.
feeling.
Peel me a nanner, toss me a peanut. I'll come swinging from a coconut tree. Peel me a nanner, toss me a peanut. You sure made a monkey out of me.
We will do anything, folks.
We'll do the chorus one more time, and then we'll fade to black and take a break. All right?
That's a pretty song, buddy.
You like that, Bill?
Yeah.
Lead us, Roy.
Peel me a nanner, toss me a peanut. I'll come swinging hanging from a coconut tree. Peel me a nanner, toss me a peanut, you sure made a monkey out of me.
A monkey out of me. Chet, you're just overwhelmed with that, aren't you?
I missed that song.
Huh?
I missed that song.
You missed that song?
Yeah, I didn't. Nobody showed it to me.
Nobody pitched you that. Would you have recorded that if you'd have heard
Probably.
it? Probably would have.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chet.
Hey, Bill, one final comment. That was not the lowest moment of Roy Drusky's career. Believe me when I tell you, no matter what he says. He did record a song called Three Blind Mice. Did you not?
Get a microphone if you're going to tell your side of it there.
Well, two big mistakes I made. Three. One was recording Three Blind Mice. The second was covering George Jones. The third was covering Merle Haggard.
What'd you cover George Jones on?
What am I worth? My first Columbia record. Don Law says, he's on a little label. We can do this. I said, sure.
And you covered Merle Haggard on
Strangers.
Yeah.
Then Carl Smith covered me on it.
How does Three Blind Mice go, the one you recorded?
Oh, it's a dandy.
Three blind mice. See how they run? Three blind mice are having lots of fun. They rock and roll to the cat's meow. They'd like to waltz, but they don't know how. The only sound they can make is, wow, three blind mice.
You know, one of the things I enjoy so much about these times when we all get together, and I'm sure y'all probably feel the same way, I learned something new about people that I thought I knew real well. For example, and I wonder if anybody else in this room knew, one time Billy Walker replaced Jim Ed Brown as part of the Browns.
Yes.
Tell that story. Right. Jim Ed was in the Army?
When I went to the Army.
Yeah, he'd just gone to the Army, and we all needed money back then, and they had a few dates. And the agency said, what we'll do is we'll set you as a single, and then you'll sing the part of I Take the Chance and 3 or 4 other songs that we were doing, and then they were doing some things together. No, I didn't wear the mask. and I know these girls are getting along together nowadays, but back then they would bicker back and forth. And I know that y'all never bicker back and forth these days.
And Billy got fresh.
Yeah, Billy got fresh one night. We started to put him out of the car.
Hey, don't you tell them that.
Since you brought it up.
I ain't never got fresh with you a day in my life. Hey,
when Bonnie was driving, I'd be
you
asleep in the back seat, and he'd get fresh with Bonnie. So when I was driving, he'd get... Bonnie was asleep, he'd get fresh with me.
So now we got together. Now you're going to embarrass him.
Now, Billy, I tell you what, if you did that today, we wouldn't say a word. We'd love it.
I don't know if y'all remember this or not. We were going up to play a park date in Maryland, and we got on top of the Blue Ridge Parkway, right up on top, and the sun was coming up. And these girls had been bickering back and forth all night.
Well, who won?
Nobody. And so I had to stop. I had to get out and rest my ears for a little bit. And I got out of the door, and they were going to run off and leave me then.
That's not why we were going to run off and leave you. We stopped at, Maxine and I got together and found out what was going on. So we stopped in Washington. We didn't, we missed our brother being with us. And so we went to our friend Jimmy Dean's house, and he had talked to he and his wife about it. And Jimmy said, "You girls need to just forget singing with Billy."
Let me tell you something.
I don't believe this story is coming out all these years later.
Billy, let me tell you something. You can't win with them.
I know.
The best thing to do. But the only thing about it is they still bicker, and there's still not a winner yet.
But we're all good friends. We love each other. But
well, I didn't mean to open that can of worms, Billy.
I didn't know there was a can of worms.
Oh, there's not one.
That's all right, Billy. Hey,
Bill,
Billy,
I want you to...
we were all single back then. It's all right. I mean, we loved it.
See if
we just didn't know what to do with it.
See if Bonnie will verify this. The Browns caused the Louvin brothers to make more money in one day than we'd ever made in our life.
That's true.
We were playing New River Ranch at Rising Sun, Maryland. The Browns was playing Sunset Park. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. Somebody said that Jim Ed drove till his license expired, and he turned the wheel over to Bonnie. And she went way up yonder in Ohio somewhere and went around the courthouse and went back the way she'd come from. And about daylight, Jim Ed woke up and, reading the road signs, discovered where he was at, and they called and said, we're not going to be able to make it.
She woke up crying.
Oh.
She pulled the car over and just woke me up, and she was a-bawling. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, I passed here 2 hours ago.
Well, I was only 16.
The story you're telling about, Charlie, is we had us a plane back then. We'd gotten big time, and we had us a nice little plane,
Not
twin
what
engine
he's
plane.
talking about.
And we were heading to Pennsylvania, where y'all were.
Right.
And we got up into Virginia, and we had to stop and fill up. We were out of gas, and they had to go to the bathroom. There was a few times that the plane had to land because of bathroom problems. We didn't have one on the plane. We didn't have that big of a plane.
Carried a wide-mouthed fruit jar with me.
Tell it all, Maxine.
Well, you can tell they're from Arkansas, can't you?
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, I still want to know how Charlie made more money out of
Well,
this.
what happened is we landed up in Virginia, and there was a big storm. One of the reasons we landed is because there was a storm in front of us. We were going to land, eat, fuel up, and let the storm pass, and then we would take off and go on in. Well, the storm didn't pass, and it closed in. We took off, and we had to come back in because the storm just closed in around us. But anyway, we couldn't get out of there. We couldn't get over it, under it, or around it. So we had to call them, and they called, and then Charlie and Ira were playing about 20 miles, I think, from there.
Yeah.
So they would do the date where they were, then they came over and did where we were, and we were getting pretty good money, and they got every penny we were supposed to get. And he hadn't sent me a penny of it yet.
We were lucky that our, quote, manager, Preston Temple.
That's right.
Remember him? He was with us at New River Ranch.
Yeah.
So the guy comes down from Sunset Park and tells Preston what his predicament is. And could the Louvin brothers just kind of bicycle, do 3 shows at New River Ranch, 3 shows at Sunset Park in one day? And I don't know if Preston asked him what he was paying the Browns, but whatever it was, we got. So it made us about a $4,000 a day, and I guarantee you we never worked harder, but we never made more money than we did that one day.
6 shows in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, six shows.
They earned it.
You earned it.
Yeah.
You sure did. You earned it. Billy, we're coming back to you. We've embarrassed you real good now. How about a song?
Well, all right. We're going to do a little whistle. Will everybody whistle for me?
Can I ask a question?
Or with me?
How do you do that? How do you do that on stage in front of 4,000 people? Do you ever get tickled?
Well, yeah.
Can you whistle then, too?
No, you can't whistle when you're tickled.
What about if somebody is down front and they're eating a lemon or something?
Yeah,
you know,
and if anybody's sucking a lemon in front of you can't whistle either. Because I used to have people that would do that when the song was hot. They'd start sucking on. I could not whistle.
What do you do when you can't
Whistle?
whistle on this song? What do you do?
That's
Because it starts off with a whistle. What do you do?
you don't sing.
I see. Okay.
Are you ready? Is everybody ready? In the key of A, we're all gonna whistle.
You're gonna whistle.
I'd like to be in Charlie's shoes, that's what I always said. He had you and everything tied with a golden thread. Charlie left and he went away when I got the news. It wasn't long till I was walking around in Charlie's shoes. Now I'm wearing out the shoes that Charlie wore. walking back and forth across the floor. The troubles that drove him away, I've got for company. These nights in Charlie's shoes are killing me. Y'all wanna play a little? The greener grass that turned my head so swiftly did turn brown. Every little dream I built, she's always tearing down. I never knew old Charlie's shoes could have so many tags of disappointing sorrows, and I wish he had them back. 'Cause I'm wearing out the shoes that Charlie wore, walking back and forth across the floor. The troubles that drove him away, I've got for company. These nights in Charlie's shoes are killing me.
Well, we got Whistling Billy and Whispering Bill in the same room here. Hey, I couldn't help but wonder, Billy Walker singing Charlie's Shoes, and we got Charlie Walker here. Did they ever get y'all mixed up?
All the time, and I told him one night, I said, I'm going to record a song called Billy's Shoes, and then we'll really have their hit.
A lot of people think you did Charlie's Shoes.
A lot of them think I did Charlie's Shoes, and a lot of them think he did Pick Me Up on Your Way
Charlie,
Down.
tell him what your radio moniker was. A cotton picking, snuff dipping.
Poke salad, cotton picking, bowl pulling, corn shucking, tobacco chewing, snuff dipping, Charlie Walker.
Do that again?
I don't know. I can't do it at the same time twice.
You actually use that on the air?
Well, I did a lot of stuff. I was on 5 hours a day, and when you got that much time, in those days you could do about anything you wanted to. And had a lot of fun. I did all kinds of things. Got into politics. I was on the third floor of this building downtown San Antonio, and I used to, during traffic time, I'd take a microphone, hang it out the window, and say, "If you're listening, honk your horn." You know. And it was one of those, the only country show in town. Everybody in town was listening, and these people started honking their horns. The police would call me and say, "Charlie, we know you got listeners. Just quit that. It's causing problems." We had a lot of fun on that show.
That's funny. Crystal Gayle, you just been sitting over there looking pretty and not talking near enough, and we hadn't heard a song from you.
Okay, well, I'd love to sing. I've been having too much fun, listening, and it's bringing back so many wonderful memories. I look around, and I know I've opened for almost everybody here. So we worked on the stage, had some wonderful times out on the road. But I'd love to sing.
Crystal Gayle first started singing on a little show that I had. She came in town. Her sister brought her in. And actually, she and Loretta and myself did a trio. I still have that on tape.
I'd like
If
to
you
have
ever
that.
mess up, I'll show the world.
That was that bad, huh? Oh, that was.
The show was one that I was hosting back then.
Great show.
Nashville. It was Nashville. The Country Place.
Country Place.
Is what we were
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Great show.
The
And,
old Country Place. I did 102 of those.
and I was very happy to be a part of the show.
That was great. Yeah, I know it. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then she said a while ago she decided she had to create her own identity. She was there for quite a while, and then she decided that she wanted to get off. She was getting married. She got married, and she left the show. And whenever she came back, boy, she came back with a bang, because she was recording her own songs and had really found her niche in this music.
Well, I was able to learn so much out on the road, and I got a lot of advice. Johnny didn't want me to get married,
Well, none of us did.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I'm sorry.
You just didn't want her to get married to somebody other than you, right?
We were on the way to a show date. One of her first show dates, her brother and I went in the front seat. She was in the back seat, and we were both trying to talk her out of marrying this guy because we knew it wouldn't work. Of course, he's here today.
So how many years has it worked?
We've been married, is it 27 years? Something like that. Yeah, it's 27,
27
I believe.
You got married when you was
Might
about
be
10, right?
Yeah, it was 10, yeah.
Bill, I wonder if the world ever seen that beautiful long hair she has. I never seen hair so long and so pretty. I wish the world could see
I'm
that.
going to have to stand up, turn around. I've got it in my pocket.
That,
Okay.
my goodness.
Okay.
Look at that. Ain't that something? Oh, my goodness.
You know, I tend to, work well with my pocket.
She's beautiful all over, ain't she, huh?
You'd think she could loan me some of that hair, wouldn't you?
Crystal, I think you better sing.
Okay. I'm going to sing a song that opened a lot of doors for me. I think you know that one? Don't know why I've been so blue. Don't know what's come over you. You found someone new, and ought to make my brown eyes blue. I'll be fine when you go. I'll just cry all night long. Say it isn't true, and ought to make my brown eyes blue. Tell me no secrets, tell me some lies. Give me no reasons, give me alibis. Tell me you love me, and don't let me cry. Say anything, but don't say goodbye. I didn't mean to treat you bad. Didn't know just what I had, but honey, now I do. And ought to make my brown eyes, and ought to make my brown eyes, and ought to make my brown eyes blue. And ought to make my brown eyes, and ought to make my brown eyes, and ought to make my brown eyes blue.
Crystal, isn't it true that nobody believed in that song but you?
I wanted that song out, the first single. The song actually was being sent to California for some singer out there, and Alan Reynolds went to Richard Lee's house the night before they were going to send it out, and he was just playing songs, and he said, I have one more, but it's going to be sent out. And he said, we'll play it for me. And he says, you're not sending that song anywhere. And I heard it, and I loved it. But no, the label did not want to release that as the first single. And I knew that if I did not put it out, someone else was going to hear it and record it and put it out. So I said, I fought.
But you don't have brown eyes.
I used to.
Then you made them blue.
No, I'm just kidding.
Bill, I have a funny story that Jack probably remembers this. He and I were working together at the time, and Crystal was on a show with us, and we had a little drummer, Ricky Taylor, who Crystal's never heard this story. Ricky was absolutely in love with Crystal Gayle. So he was standing out there, and he was watching her the whole time she was singing. And later, he helped her down off the stage. We were watching him and everything. He came to the bus, and his face was as red as your sweater. And he said, I am so embarrassed. I just want to crawl back in the bunk, never come out. I said, why? And he said, well, I was standing there watching Crystal sing, and I didn't realize it, but I was so enthralled I forgot to swallow. So he said, when I helped her down off the stage, he said, you were fabulous. And he said, I spit all over her dress. And he said, he said, why couldn't I just said something like, you're wonderful, where your mouth stays together? But I always thought that was such a great compliment to you.
Bobby Lord, Crystal Gayle's a tough act to follow. But you can do it with Pie Peachy Pie Pie. You know?
Do you really want to hear Pie Peachy?
Just a little bit of it, and then I want you to sing a series.
Does anybody have a guitar and a pick? Is a pick in it? Oh, you got it. Okay. We might as well get this over with. The band doesn't have to play because it would be a shame if you missed the lyrics. You guys might cover it up. I'll just do this by myself. Pie, peachy pie, pie, please won't you be my pie, peachy pie, pie, baby. My, we could fly high if you could be my pie, peachy pie, pie, baby. Gee, you're a Lulu. Let's make the woo-woo. You drive me cuckoo, baby. Pie, peachy pie, pie, please won't you be my pie, peachy pie, pie, baby.
I take back everything I ever said about Peel Me and Nanner.
Thank you. Chad, what would you have done if somebody had brought that song to you?
I think Boudleaux played that for me.
Yeah, Boudleaux Bryant wrote it.
He wrote it. And, you know, I'm the only, he told me on his deathbed that I'm the only person he'd ever written with except Felice. And what a compliment. We wrote Midnight and a couple of others that did well. How's the world treating you? Yeah.
Wow. Goodness.
You didn't ever write with him, did you?
No, I wish I could have. I idolized him. You know, back in those days, Chet, if you didn't write for the same publishing company, you know, when I first came to town, you had to write for the same company. They wouldn't split the songs.
Well, that's the only way I could ever make it with a writer, as a writer, was to write with a great writer like Boudleaux Bryant.
Well, now, did you write like the melody and he write the lyrics, or did you write?
Yeah, something like that. I usually had a melody, and maybe I'd contribute a line here or there, but not much. It's like when I first came here, Fred Rose told Hank Williams, this is Chet Atkins, said he's trying to write. And so one day Hank said, let's go out and see if you can knock out a couple. And I was so in awe of him that I couldn't write anything. But we went out to his house, and he introduced me to Audrey, said, this is my barometer. Said, if she likes it, it's a good song. And so we tried to write something, but nothing came of it. I wish I had our efforts at least, but I don't.
I can't imagine Chet Atkins being in awe of anybody. You were in awe
of Hank Williams? Yeah, he was so big when I came here, you know. He was, and I saw him, he was so skinny and those black-looking eyes, you know, and I thought, that's Hank Williams. I want his autograph.
Wow. Did you play on any of his records?
Played on all of them after I moved here as just rhythm. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I saw a list of those tunes that he recorded. I think I moved here in June 1950. And my name's not on a lot of them. And I don't know if it's somebody forgot to put it down or what. But that's something historians like Bob Orman can take up. And so Chet said he played on all these till Hank died.
I think you are listed on the Jambalaya session and a couple of
Kalijah.
And
on a lot of, I just played dead string rhythm. And once in a while, me and Sammy Pruitt would play a little duet. But you know, the guy, a wonderful guy that I still love is the steel player, Don Helms. What a funny dude he is, man. He is.
We need to get Don on one of these reunion shows with us. He's got a lot of stories. Yeah. But now, when you were playing guitar, you said rhythm guitar. Now, when Hank recorded, they didn't use drums on sessions back then, did they?
No, we tic-tac guitar, they call it, replaced drums. We used drums on one side with Hank, and it was Kalijah. And I remember they had a hell of a time getting the sound on that tom-tom that they used on the record.
What was it that made Hank Williams stand out above everybody else at that time?
he had just an abundance of confidence in his work.
Did he?
And he'd write a song, and he'd come up to me up to Noontime Neighbors or something, one of those shows I was working, and he would, hey, Hoss, listen to this, and he'd sing Jambalaya or something. Say, what do you think? Well, he did that to all the singers around, you know, Hank Snow, and if they said, yeah, I like it, I want to record it, he'd say, hell no, it's too good for you. I'm going to record it. But he was, I remember Steve Scholes, who, you know, I owe my whole life. He had pitched a song to Steve for Hank Snow, and we went down to the Opry, and boy, he jumped on Steve. He just gave him hell, and Steve just grinned and went on about his business.
You worked with so many of the greats. Talk about Jim Reeves. You produced all of Jim Reeves' hits, didn't you?
Yeah, most of them. He was, you know, they talk about Gentleman Jim and all that. He'd knock your teeth out if you...
You and Jim got in a fight?
Oh, you sure did.
Who
Me
did?
and Farron was out west, and we ended a tour out there. Me and him and Farron. So we decided to let the boys come on back with the bus and everything. And we rented us a big, nice car, you know, and we just going to drive all the way back. So we're coming across there, and you know, I drank a little myself back then, and Farron drank a little more, and Jim drank a little more. So he got some idea. He was in the back, and we was in the front. Farron was driving, and so he got some idea I'd made fun of his hair piece, you know. And he said, I want Farron to stop this car, or I'm gonna beat the hell out of you. And I always thought like Gentleman Jim. He loaned me his guitar, you know, when I first come here, because I didn't have a guitar. I made most of my first appearances with Jim Reeves on my guitar, and so. Farron said, well, I'll just stop and let y'all settle that. So we got outside, and just luck would have it, you know, like some of those Mamel Tillis things, you know, we stopped right on a cliff like thing that goes way down there, and he got out there and he got going, you know, like he don't, and he took a swing at me, and he throwed himself plumb down that hill. And so his tube went one way and he went the other, and so me and Farron went back down there and got him back in the car. And by the time we got him back in the car, he had forgot all about what he was mad about.
Did you find the tube? Did you find the tube, Stonewall?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we found Jim and the tube there.
I got a little story I'll tell you about Jim. We were in Germany, and Jim said, Hank said, I want to tell you something. Said, I was coming back from a date, you know, he down at the Louisiana Hayride at the time, and he said, it was raining, and he said, I came around this curve, and I looked in front of me, and there was a guy in a raincoat and had his hand up like that, and he said, I just pulled right on up, you know, and I finally got stopped, and he said, I kind of pulled myself together, and I looked around, and there wasn't nobody there, and he said, I looked in front of me, and it's raining like everything, the bridge was out. And that's when I told him, I said, Jim, you know, that might be a warning that the Lord has sent you. I said, if you don't know the Lord, you might ought to inquire about it. And that's really how he died in a rainstorm.
Wow.
One time, Chet and Hank Locklin and I and Archie Campbell were at lunch, and I had just played a song for Chet, and he had told me he was going to get somebody to record it. And I asked him, I said, you told me you're going to get somebody to record my song. Are you going to? He said, oh, I meant to tell you. He said, Jim Reeves is going to cut your song next week. He said, but if you see him in the meantime, he'll ask you for half of that song. But don't give it to him because he's going to cut it. So the next Friday night up at the Friday Night Frolics, standing back in that little hallway, Jim said, you're the guy that wrote In a Mansion Stands My Love, right? And I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I was thinking about cutting that song, but I don't cut no songs if I don't get part of them. And I thought about what Chet said, and I said, well, I really wanted you to cut it, but if you don't feel like you can, I can't give it away. And I'm thinking all my time, boy, you better know what you're talking about, Skinny. And I left town, and I'm down in Mississippi at my sister's house. And I'm listening to Ralph Emery, and they played He'll Have to Go. And I got so damn mad at him, I didn't know what to do. I said, if I'd just give him half of it, he'd have cut it. And then they played the backside, and he'd cut my song. Yeah. Chet got him to do that and made me a lot of money. And that's the reason I don't talk to you much anymore.
You can send me a check now and then.
Chet called me the other day, and I told him, I said, Chet, everything I got in this world I owe to you. And he said, I know it.
You know, this is a good point in Jim's life. I was over at went over to Joe Allison and his wife's house in California, and Joe sung me a song to me. He says, Freddie, you'll take this to Nashville and cut this song. He wrote this song, Joe did, and his wife. So I brought it down, and Don Law listened to it, and he says, it's a pretty song, Freddie, but he says, Walsh's is just not selling, you know, and so that's forgot. I think Billy Brown cut it first, and then Jim cut it, and the rest is history. You know?
He'll have to go.
He'll have to go.
Yeah.
Made me a lot of money.
Chetty was a great singer, wasn't he? Jim Reeves was a
Jim
great
Reeves.
singer.
He's still hot all over the world. English, and a lot of people. Somebody wrote an article about him the other day in a magazine. I don't know if it was you or who it was, but I wanted to call and say, don't forget his international popularity, because he's still big. In India, in the islands, yeah, he's just an amazing artist.
He turned out to be one of the best friends I ever had. He would take me places, and he'd go out to California. He'd call my mother and tell her I was all right, because I was just a kid when I was here. I ain't been around here like y'all have. I'm just a kid.
Right. You know, Chet and I did the last tour Jim Reeves ever did. Chet and I and Jim Reeves. It was a European tour. Back in 1964. Yeah, spring of 64. Me, Chet, Jim Reeves, and Anita Kersingers toured all the big towns in Europe together.
Is that where we wouldn't play cork?
No, that was a tour before that. But we introduced them to country music in all the big venues.
Yeah.
And of course, Jim and I were real hot with records then that were international hits, and the whole world knew Chet Atkins. So we had sellouts in every town. And Jim lost his. Remember when Jim lost his rugs? Somebody stole his bag.
Yeah, he put his bag on the
sidewalk.
Airport there, and somebody walked off with it, and he got blue. He got so mad.
Oh.
He thought one of us should have picked it up, and we should have, I guess.
He would stand on the street corners for hours looking. He said, and somebody said, "What are you looking for, Jim?" He said, "If I see some Nazi walking down the street wearing my rug, I'm going to kill him."
Hey, Chet, tell that story about that guy on a cruise ship, and you were playing guitar.
Oh, yeah, well, that's been told so many times. But I was booed on that tour. I don't know if you remember it. That's the only time I remember him being booed. In Berlin at the Sportsatorium. That's what it was, Sports Arena. I was out there picking something, and we had a lot of soldiers there, and they started booing me. They wanted to hear Bobby Bear sing, "I Want to Go Home." Big Bobby get out there about half drunk, "I want to go home." And they'd say, "Yeah, we do too." Oh, I played down in the Caribbean. I didn't play in the Caribbean. I went down there on a vacation with my wife and John Loudermilk and his wife, and it was a little old sailing ship. I think it had belonged to the Vanderbilts back in the 20s, and they'd chopped it up so it would sleep about 70 people. So we went on that boat, and I didn't like it immediately. You couldn't drink the water. It tasted like oil or gasoline. And so I wound up drinking beer all the time and gin and tonics. It's a wonder I didn't become an alcoholic. But one night, I took a little old electric guitar, real flat and tiny, and John had a acoustic guitar of some kind. And you haven't traveled till you travel to John Loudermilk. I mean, he is crazy. And I'll repeat it, John, you are crazy. But we entertained a little, and nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who he was. And I played guitar solo or two badly. But a guy walked up to me the next day and said, I enjoyed your concert last night. I said, thank you very much. He said, you're pretty good, but you're no Chet Atkins. Well, that's the truth.
Well, this is a beautiful song.
Fall away, fall away, when you're happy. Your blue days go by a-dragging, but when you're happy, the years fall away. This morning, I woke up old and gray, and I wondered how did I get this way? And then I remembered, why, good heavens, it's our golden wedding day. I guess when you're happy, years just fall away. Fall away. Fall away. Happy, the years fall away. When your blue days go by a-dragging, but when you're happy, the years fall away. And honey, today I looked at you and I noticed that your hair's getting a little silvery too. And it thrilled me when you said, why, it was black just yesterday. I guess when you're happy, the years just fall away. Fall away, fall away. When you're happy, the years fall away. When your blue days go by a-dragging, but when you're happy, years fall away.
Didn't Boodle O'Brien also write that song?
Yeah, Boodle and Police wrote that.
Did I ever tell you what I did for my parents on their 50th wedding anniversary with that song?
No.
I took them, I didn't tell the other. I told Dad, I said, I want to take you to a little recording studio and I want you to do that recitation for Mama. And I told Mama, I said, I want you to go and do it for Daddy. And I got them both on the record and I edited it together. And on their wedding, on their golden wedding day, I gave it to them. And each one of them thought they had pulled a real surprise on the other one. Daddy was sitting there going, you know, Mama was going, hi. And then when they heard each other's voice on there, it was an amazing thing.
Well, that's great.
That's a beautiful song.
That's a great story.
Well, that's a beautiful song. Wanda Jackson sitting back here looking over Bobby Lord's shoulder and Leroy Van Dyke's and sitting next to Billy Walker. Y'all all worked together on the old Ozark Jubilee shows. I bet you could tell stories, Wanda, on every one of those guys, couldn't you? Not. You'd rather not do it. No, you started on the Red Foley show like as a teenager, didn't you?
Right. I think I was just got out of high school. So I was 17, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd had two records in the charts on the Decca label. And it was that summer that I also worked with Elvis, you know. And so I said, at least for about 1 week out of my career, I got top billing over Elvis because he hadn't had a big record yet.
Wow.
But, yeah, I was pretty young.
Her first record went to what, number one?
I don't know, Bobby, 4 or 5, something like that. I'd like to claim 1, but I have to go out of the United States to get number 1 records.
Yeah, that's right. You've had a lot of big hit records like in Japan. And you want to tell your side of the Geisha Girl story? No, I don't think we won't go there.
All I know is my daddy sure liked Japan, too. Something I never did figure that out.
And you never knew why, huh?
No. Poor daddy, he's not here to defend himself. I shouldn't do that.
Then I remember you and Norma Jean were singers on the Red Foley show, and both of you were teenagers or so at the time.
Yeah, right. We drove.
Jim Ed said you were a teenager, too?
I was, too, and they were awfully pretty. I tried my best to sit next to her every time she walked down into the audience, you know, where we would sit down there and watch them rehearse the show. And I would move every bit of the way I could to get closer to her. If I had to get behind her, I would.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They call that stalking.
Is that what? That may be what you call it now, but it wasn't.
Bill, Tom, her daddy was always with her everywhere she went, and of course, you know, all these young guys was just ogling over Wanda, and all these guys tried to maneuver Tom out of the way so they could get next to Wanda.
You know, there's a line in Merle Haggard wrote a song about Tommy Collins called Leonard. And there's a line in it that says, when he finally got to go to California, and Tommy told me one time, I said, I don't understand what he means about finally. He said, I only went to California to sit by Wanda Jackson out there because her daddy took him out there to meet.
My folks, lived out there, and they had kinfolks, and so we were going back to California one summer, and of course, Tommy was already out of college, or he was already ready to have a career, and so we said, well, we'll take you out with us. They had a lot of talent shows in California. My folks drove me all from Oklahoma City all the way to Los Angeles to be on a talent show, and I won a watch. I said, that's a lot of trouble for a watch, but that's why Tommy was with us.
Bill, could I say, of course, all these guys are talking about how pretty Wanda was, but Wanda taught Maxine and I how to pack a suitcase. You remember how you used to take your dresses and they would fold them in because she wore all that fringe and everything, so her mother taught her, I think, then she taught us. But there was a secret on how you packed your dresses to keep them from wrinkling, and she taught all of us how to do that. So, see, I remember that.
I still do jeans or slacks that way sometimes. Well, it's just simply you roll them, and it worked fine on the fringe dresses because they didn't wrinkle anyway.
Yeah, that's great.
You came to Atlanta one time, and there were 2 young kids hanging out backstage that wanted to grow up to be songwriters or singers or something. And you let these 2 kids borrow your Martin guitar. And they went over and stood in the corner in the dark for about an hour, and they sang songs back and forth to each other and dreamed about being in the music business, playing Wanda Jackson's guitar. One of them's name was Bill Anderson. The other one's name was Roger Miller.
Oh, my goodness. How about that?
Yeah. Sing us a song.
Well, okay, here's a song that, there's a kind of a cute story behind this because I thought I had, the first, what do you call it when you're the first one to record something, an exclusive, on this Little Bitty Tear song. And so In the Middle of a Heartache was on the charts, and I thought, well, we'll just wait till Heartache kind of starts dropping, and then we'll release this one. Well, in the meantime, they started playing Burl Ives' record of A Little Bitty Tear. So we said, we better get yours released right quick. So what did? We killed In the Middle of a Heartache, and I never did get the hit on A Little Bitty Tear because he had too much. That's not the way Hank tells it. Well, so anyway, but I still like the song. Let's try it. today was our last day, I said there'd be no sorrow, that I'd laugh when you walked away. But a little bitty tear let me down, spoiled my act as a clown. I had it made up not to make a frown, but a little bitty tear let me down. I said I'd laugh when you left me, full of funny as you walked out the door, that I'd have another one awake to wave goodbye as you go. Oh, but a little bitty tear let me down, spoiled my act as a clown. I had it made up not to make a frown, but a little bitty tear let me down. Y'all are singing Pearl Ives' version, see? Everything went like I planned it. I really put on quite a show. I thought that I was gonna stand it, but when you got to the door, well, then a little bitty tear let me down, spoiled my act as a clown. I had it made up not to make a frown, a little bitty tear let me down, a little bitty tear let me down, a little bitty tear let me down. Thank you so much.
I like that very much. I have a little story about exclusives on songs. I was recording for Dot at the time, and the Albert Box with Hill and Range came down and had this song, These Hands, and pitched it to Randy Woods if I would record it. And he said, well, it'll be a little while before we get to it. And they said, well, we'll give you an exclusive on it if Mike would record it. So I recorded it, and we had something else going pretty well at the time, so we decided we wouldn't release it right away. I was on tour going down through Florida, and I was hopscotching on the radio dial, and I heard Lefty Frizzell sing it. Went a little further, and I heard Hank Snow sing it. And I'll swear before the day was out, Tex Ritter sang it. There was 3 records out. They'd given each one of them an exclusive on it.
There are some ethical people in this business, though. Several years ago, I was cold as ice cream on records after my years with Dot, and I had asked for a release from the label, and didn't know where I was going. I was staying. I went out to dinner at Jan and Harlan's house in California, and Harlan said, "Let me sing you some songs." I said, "Harlan, I don't have a contract. Don't know when I'll get one." He said, "Doesn't make any difference." And so he played a bunch of songs, and I said, "Well, I like this big man in a big house." But I said, "I don't have a contract." He said, "I don't care. It's your song. If you never, ever record it, it's still your song." Well, it was about 3 years before I got it cut, but it stayed in the charts about 17 weeks, and I never forgot that. Harlan kept his word.
Yeah, Harlan did that a lot. Johnny Cash kept a song of Harlan's for 7 years before he recorded it, and he finally did. But once his word was given, I mean, he did keep it. Yeah.
To everybody but you.
We won't go there.
Chet, what's the other side of that as a record producer? Would you put songs on an exclusive basis and then?
Yeah, sometimes. Before I answer that, I want to rectify something. I see Smokey Smith back there. And when I got to making so many records, I didn't have time to sleep or anything, but he called me and wanted me to come up and work a show, I guess at WHO or somewhere, I don't know, and I told him I couldn't do it. I think I had him on the hook for a while, and then I finally told him I couldn't make it, and he got pretty upset, as he should have. And so I want to take this opportunity among all these people to tell you that I'm sorry that I was not a man of my word. I usually am, but I was working so damn much, so I didn't make it. I apologize.
Just the idea that we might get you in the area was enough for me, even if you didn't make it. I appreciated the opportunity of just talking to you.
Thank you, Smokey.
You know, Smokey Smith, I think every one of us probably in this room has worked shows for Smokey Smith, and I think Smokey was with us when you and I were working together, we were in Duluth, I think, Minnesota. The only show we missed, snowstorm, and the planes were not flying, and we were in the airport, couldn't get out, but the promoter was with us, Smokey, so he knew why we couldn't get out. He couldn't either.
No, I think, what was it, Duluth? We were in Duluth trying to get to Minneapolis, or Minneapolis trying to get...
We were in Rochester trying to get to Duluth.
We were in Rochester. I probably owe my life to Bill Anderson. I'm serious. There was a horrible blizzard blowing.
And you were going to get on the plane.
I was, for the fact. The commercial flights had been canceled, but I'd got a little private plane. And I just about talked Bill into going with me. And we got about halfway from the airport gate out to where this little plane was parked, and it got to where we couldn't hardly see the plane. Bill said, "Hey, Smoke, I don't think so." He said, "Come back." He grabbed me by the arm and led me back into the airport, for which I've been forever grateful, because I don't think we'd have ever made it.
I don't think we would have either.
We postponed the date and played it later. We made it up later.
Well, Smokey always booked those shows in the dead of winter.
Well, I got to explain something.
Well, wait a minute. Let me tell this. We did a huge package show in Minneapolis on Saturday night. It was me, Fairland Husky, and Slim Whitman, Buck Owens. I mean, there must have been 12 people on the show. Well, the next day, Sunday afternoon, we were supposed to be in Duluth. Woke up Sunday morning, and there was a damn snowstorm that you ever saw. And I bummed a ride with some fan in had a big old Cadillac. And we slipped and slid all the way. Slim Whitman wouldn't fly, so he rode a train. Anyway, to make a long story short, I made it to the show, and there was nobody on the show but me and Slim Whitman. No band, no nothing. Except Smokey was there. He was bent over double with a big cigar. I don't know how he got there.
Well, I got to explain one reason why up in that country our shows were in the fall and winter, because these old auditoriums were not air conditioned. And you could fry eggs on the stage on any of them from May, June, July, August, and the first part of September. And so we normally started the last week or two of September and booked a show a month on a circuit tour, right on through until it got hot again. And that's why you had to battle.
But they weren't heated either, Smokey.
Well, some of them had a little heat.